Adam Murray here, Chair of the NIPSA Youth Committee, and I'm joined today by Committee Vice Chair Chris Bailey. As you'll know, young workers have been hit incredibly hard by COVID-19. The UK-based charity Young Minds has been conducting surveys of thousands of young people between the ages of 12 and 25 throughout the pandemic, and their January 2021 report found that 75% of young people have found this current lockdown harder to cope with than the last. 67% of young people surveyed believe that the pandemic will have a long-term negative effect upon their mental health. This includes young people worried about the impact upon their education during lockdown, or worried about the prospects of finding work and struggling to enter the workforce. Young workers have struggled with the impacts of having to work from home. Others have had to put their health at risk providing essential services throughout the pandemic, whilst many have simply lost their jobs. NIPSA is a proud campaigning union whose members look beyond their own immediate workplace concerns time and time again to take action on broad societal and international issues. NIPSA Youth initiatives play an important role in the life of our union, such as organising events looking at issues such as the minimum wage versus the living wage or mental health. I'm very proud that it was NIPSA Youth who placed on the union's agenda the issue of the voting age, and that as of 2019 NIPSA Annual Delegate Conference, that it's NIPSA policy to campaign for the voting age to be lowered to 16. This would empower young people at a crucial time in history as they are faced with COVID, with economic crises, and of course the onset of climate catastrophe. NIPSA Youth will continue to campaign on issues such as these, continue to organise events, and continue to play a role in the life of our union, but we are seeking your help. One of the pieces of work we've been looking at during lockdown is the NIPSA Youth Manifesto and updating it to reflect an ever-changing world. The manifesto is a series of calls for action on the part of the Stormont parties. I'm going to hand you over now to Chris Bailey, who's going to speak about some of the examples and the themes that are found within that manifesto. Chris?
Thank you, Adam. Our manifesto is a record of what young people have endured and our demands for improved services, better representation and governance. NIPSA's young union workers want to see changes in many different areas. Under our housing and homelessness section, we demand things like everyone having a place to call home with investment in outreach to end rough sleeping and homelessness, a citizens' advice and community outreach programme tailored and advertised to young people, and a poverty and hunger scheme developed to support young people who rely on food banks and charity. Under our labour market and wages section, we demand reform on paid work experience programmes and into-work youth schemes, a real living wage for young people, and that there is no tiered system of wages based on age or gender, and that the working week is reduced to 4 days. Under our mental health and social media section, we demand things like an expansion of mental health services within the NHS and the community outreach sector. Mental health services should be available to all, free and accessible at the earliest needed intervention, and the creation of a justice network to provide youth services and work within schools and authorities. The manifesto section on our environment and the future talks about demanding effective recycling and waste management policies for our communities, the creation of a green spaces bill, and the development of alternative low carbon green energies. Other areas in the manifesto demand social media companies take more responsibility for their content, and that the government addresses economic and social impacts as a result of Brexit, and they oppose privatisation and the weakening of the welfare state. Now I'd like to hand you back to Adam to wrap up. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris, and thank you to each delegate for your attention today. You'll all receive a copy of that manifesto in the near future, and we would appreciate it if you would share it with your branch, with members, and those that you work with, and we would appreciate your support as we campaign for the rights and interests of young workers. You can also keep up to date with the work of NIPSA Youth through the NIPSA website and through our social media channels. I'd like to close by emphasising the importance of ensuring the voices of young workers are heard within our union. We all want to see a dynamic and active youth committee within NIPSA. Young workers are the future of this union, and we need to see more young people joining NIPSA and becoming active. Please, if you have any colleagues in your union branch between the ages of 18 and 35, encourage them to get in touch with us and become involved with the NIPSA Youth Committee. And they can do that by contacting Geraldine Alexander through NIPSA headquarters. Thank you.